Congratulations! You met the perfect man for you. He popped the question. The two of you had that nice fairy tale wedding. And then everyone leaves and you're married now. And now what? Hi guys, my name is Keisha Rice and I'm the pre-wife coach. So I help single professional women learn how to get clear on what they really want out of a relationship, learn how to set boundaries, and attract the perfect match for them. So in today's episode of Relate, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. Her name is Sarah. Sarah and I have known each other for years, and she's one of the best friends a girl could ever want. She's an amazing engineer, and she is also a newlywed. So just before her 1-year anniversary, she and I talked to each other about the things that surprised her the most about getting married as it concerns her relationships with other people, her family, and her friends. I really think you'll enjoy this conversation. Sarah, thank you for inviting me into your home for it. So take a look.
Okay, so you and I had this discussion once before about like people saying congratulations when you got engaged.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've come around a little bit on it. I'm kind of like, people are just trying to be nice. They don't know another word to say. No one's heard of best wishes. It's cool.
Right.
What about you?
That would be so much better. Yeah. I didn't mind congratulations when it was like congratulations to both of you, not just congratulations, Sarah, on, scooping a man
like,
or whatever.
Yay, you're Southern, and because you're in your late 20s, you're old AF.
Right.
But you finally found a man.
Good job. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So if it was both of us together, I didn't mind because I felt like it was sweet, and it was more like best wishes or we're so happy for you or all those other phrases that I would probably actually really like to hear a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's funny because my default when I'm talking to someone else when they get engaged is to say
congratulations.
Congratulations. And I usually hear it from the girl because I have a lot more girlfriends than guy friends.
Yeah.
And so now I've been a lot more mindful about saying like congratulations to both of you.
Like you can love someone to death, but it's still work.
Right. That was one thing I really felt was different when we got married was people would say like it's going to be different when you're married, and I don't know, we already lived together and I didn't think it would be that different.
Yeah.
The one big difference was how easy it was to talk about money, because at least for me it used to be like, well, that's your bank account and your money, and then this is mine, and then like with roommates where you split
things.
Expenses. Yeah. It was like that. And so now I'm like, okay, well, even if I pay a little more, like we have some combined stuff and some separate stuff. But now I feel like if I pay a little more, or if he pays a little more, like it's not a big deal. In the end, like it's one shared amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I still feel like the money talk is awkward.
Yeah.
And Mariah and I might be a little bit different because we don't live together.
Right. Right.
So when it comes to things like, just going out, going to the movies, going to dinner and all that, part of me is like, well, I don't want him to pay for everything because I have a job too. Like,
yeah.
Like I also earn money about being married as opposed to dating, being engaged.
So not to be like a downer, I don't think it's a downer thing, but how much, like you said, relationships are work. And I think that has been the part that surprised me the most. Like, so many love stories and even, like, relatives will reinforce this and say, like, oh, once you're married, like, there are always those cards, like, oh, you got married, you got engaged. Once you're married, you can get fat. Or, like, I don't know. It's just, like...
Well,
it's like,
I can't do that because I was...
you should do whatever you want. But I mean, if you wanted to start now, but why not? Like so many stories say that like that's the end all be all. Whatever happens after the wedding day doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And that could not be farther from the truth. I feel like if anything, I have to work harder to be considerate, especially when I get tired or annoyed or sick. So it's just been like a more just regular work and not like big things like, oh, I'm gonna buy him a car, something crazy.
Yes.
More just like, we're eating dinner in front of the TV because it's one of those nights, and then I'll take his plate and put it in the dishwasher with mine. Like, small stuff like that.
Yeah, because you've known me longer than Andy, so you would buy me the car first.
Clearly.
Friends are going to treat you different because you're old and settled now.
That's an interesting question. Friends, not so much. One or two, like, especially friends who are I guess unhappily single would be the term. I don't know. I have friends who are single and like,
but don't want to be single.
And don't, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like they're very much looking for someone and not comfortable with being single. A couple of those friends have maybe made like sort of different comments, whereas before it kind of felt like maybe we were all in the same boat. You know, even when engaged, like, oh yeah, whatever, we're all still single legally, and it's been a little bit different. But I think it's more like it's different because they assume like maybe I only want to do couple things, which couldn't be farther from the truth. Like I still want to do. I've heard that like couples that have all the same hobbies and all the same friends and all the same like habits, like you kind of lose things to talk about when you get together because you can't like compare different stories.
No, I've always said that I don't want to spend every moment of every day with Mario because I don't want it to ever be a point of I don't get to ask how was your day because I was there for all of it.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And then what are you going to talk about? Remember at 2 p.m. when I sneezed? Like,
yes.
Oh,
like that was hilarious.
Sneeze. Yeah. Family has been the big one because of course they immediately start giving like a lot of unsolicited advice
that you don't want to hear. Yeah.
And especially about kids, which like is in the future for us, but still like we both were like we want to enjoy being married as adults, you know, because like this like the magical time, you're like still pretty healthy, you have like a good enough amount of money to do whatever you want, you know, and still like the freedom of not having small people to not, you know, make sure they don't die and, you know, we're happy and like living fulfilling small people
sure
lives.
Cats don't die.
Right. Cats are easy. Yeah. Their like requirements are way lower. They also feed themselves.
The Southern girl struggle is real.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you go to college and people are like, that's cool, you know, and then they're like, oh, you went to college for like a career, not for your like MRS.
Right.
And then, you know, so you date and all that, and you find someone who's halfway decent, and it's like, when you get married? When you get married? You get married? You get married?
Yeah.
Is that coming? Is that coming? And you get engaged, and everybody's like, congratulations! When's the date?
Right.
Have you
like
seen
they
a date
ask you
yet?
like right the first person, like after you told someone what was like the shortest amount of time for someone asked
it was congratulations, when's the big day? I'm like, I just got engaged, like literally like 5 minutes ago. We haven't gotten that far in the discussion.
Still absorbing what just happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think ours it was like I called my mom and then she called and then I was like, feel free to tell other family members, you know, that's perfectly fine. And she called her brother, my uncle. And then so that was like, I probably had the ring on for like 7 hours total, maybe. And that was including a time difference to like call my mom.
Yeah.
And my uncle asked when was the date. And my mom was like, because we were on vacation. She's like, Sarah's not in the U.S. I don't think she knows.
The first person we told was my grandma, actually.
Aw, that's really sweet.
And we called her and she was like, it's about time. I knew it was going to happen. And we were like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Thanks, Grandma.
And my mom was like, you know, I'm happy for you. You know, I'm glad I'm getting a new son and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So we told my dad. He's already planning out his most normal people at least get you're engaged. When's the date? When are you getting married?
Right.
And then after you get married, people start hitting you with, when are you going to have kids?
Oh, did we skip all the way to that?
Yeah, we've been on kids.
Like my parents are actually not the ones who've been putting a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah.
It's more like my grandmother when she was still alive, and then my aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, a lot of them already have like grandbabies, or they have little nieces and little nephews. Yeah. I'm like, how is this not filling the, you know,
people love
the
babies.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to constantly have to be responsible for babies.
Right, that's
true. So, you know, if it's your kid, obviously,
right.
And if it's your grandkid, then you have to worry about like your children dropping the kids off for like weekends or weeks and going on vacation.
Mm-hmm. I did have an aunt.
If it's like your great niece or nephew or something,
yeah,
then that's like an afternoon.
Right. And then when you're tired, you're like, oh, it's nap time. I'm gonna take you home.
Yeah. You're in a weird space in like the friend continuum right now. Then we have still single friends, and we have they've been married for what feels like forever. And I mean, I know forever is really like 4 or 5 years,
right?
But,
right.
But they're married. They
have
the babies and all that.
A couple of friends who are like I really look up to because they're like, you know, it's like the Keeping Up with the Joneses type group. Like, they seem like they have it all going on, and
yes.
including with their relationship.
Yeah.
And including with, like, their,
you know, like you take your 4 or 5 day trip to Europe and they take their, like, 3-month one.
Right. That they had planned immediately after they got married, and they lined it up so it would perfectly line up with so-and-so's birthday and their 2-year anniversary, and then they came home and immediately got pregnant. And I'm like, I don't know how did you coordinate all that? You know, I could barely hold my 5-day trip together. Yeah. So I think I feel the most intimidated by that group because, again, I feel like a lot of literature and other people say that, like, bam, after the wedding, everything's going to fall into place. Yes. And that's not really the case. Like, it's still just the same type of stuff for me. Like, all the things that I was not organized with before, I'm still not organized about. Yeah. So that I feel like the gap has gotten wider because I think part of me was, like, expecting to somehow magically be organized and have everything put together.
Need. Like, you should get married the first time. It's like a dress rehearsal so that you can be like, okay, here are all the things that screwed up at my wedding.
Yeah.
Let's do this again.
And then, like, the stuff that, like, I feel like there are things that you focus on because you think they might be important.
Yes.
And then it turns out, like, the day of, like, it doesn't really matter.
That's the big advice I've been getting. I have so many people coming to me like, so these were things that happened at my wedding that I didn't care about. These are things that I cared about that day and maybe for a week after, but that I no longer care about.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's so nice, though, because then you know, like, it's not a big deal.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. I love doing this series because it's been such a great opportunity to get to know the women in my circle even better. And I will talk to you guys soon, but I hope that in the meantime, these conversations will encourage you to have a coffee date or have lunch with one of the women in your life and see what you can learn about them that's new. Bye.